uwager.lv, Sportsbook, and Casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. guys? Welcome back to another edition, your happy hump day edition of the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show is we'll get you updated on this Rays game, which right now, not necessarily the best news. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, of course, I'll have my co-host on, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, a new sponsor here on the Sports Web. We will have Best Hope Counseling, licensed marriage and family therapist, Mr. Larry Bumgardner, talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Rays. What does he do? How does it relate to sports? And then, of course, about 10:20, we'll have Ralph Williams, newest Pittsburgh personality, talking about WWE Money in the Bank, AEW. And then, of course, as always, taking your phone calls, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. In case you can't get through on that number, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528 is the Rays right now are on a 3-game losing streak, and they're losing to the Philadelphia Phillies at the Trop 8-4. But that's baseball. It's okay. Don't freak out. They're still 6 games ahead of the Baltimore Orioles, 8 games ahead of the New York Yankees. Wander Franco is now an all-star, as he should have been in the first place. We'll get into that. Randy Arozarena is an all-star. He's also in the home run derby contest, so we'll see how that plays out. Of course, Shane McClanahan already in there, but most likely is not going to start. In fact, he's not going to start in the game. He made it. And, of course, Yandy Diaz. What do you think about your Tampa Bay Rays? Brandon Lau back yesterday, making an impact tonight with 2 hits, including 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. A lot of people trying to run him out of town, excuse me. And then not only are we going to talk about your Tampa Bay Rays, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we always do on this show. As I see Roger Shue doing what he always does, trolling with his comment. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Trask, amen. There is a prediction thrown out there by probably the best player on this team besides Mike Evans and Tristan Wirfs. What was that prediction? 12-5. And before you say, well, what is he supposed to say, Peter? Well, I've interviewed athletes before, and they usually say, take 1 game at a time. So what do you think about his prediction? What does Vegas think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? All that and more. Once again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So let's get it revved up. I missed you guys on Monday. Gave you a little bit of a break. Hopefully you enjoyed the fireworks. Hopefully you didn't eat too many hot dogs. I know after watching that hot dog eating contest, I didn't eat much of anything. So let's go ahead and get this man's intro on. My co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek. Here we go. Professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, Harry the Greek. Welcome to the evolution on this happy hump day edition.
Hump day?
Yes, sir. Hump day. Let me go ahead and get
Hump
this.
day?
There you go. How you doing, my friend?
You see it, Pete. You see it. Not doing much, man. I'm just going to be Mr. Personality tonight. I'm okay, buddy.
You're okay? You're going to be a personality tonight? All right. Well, give me some personality here. Let's start off with the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, updating the score right now, losing to the Philadelphia Phillies 8-4. I don't know what you say. I mean, the
world's just falling apart. Armageddon happening.
The bullpen hasn't been there tonight. It's looking like they're going to lose 4 in a row unless they come back before this show is over with. They got one more inning. It's getting late.
Do you see the smile?
I see the smile on your face.
Do you know why, Pete? Because it's a slump. And everybody is just like enamored. Oh, this team can go undefeated. Come on, man. Stop. It's a slump. The bullpen sucks right now. The starting pitching's getting knocked around a little bit, and the bats aren't always there. But you know what? They'll break out of it, and then you're going to see them win 10 out of 12 ball games, and everybody's going to be like, "What slump? What the hell happened?" That's what
Yes.
happens in 160 plus games. Okay, stop.
All right. Well, listen, I'm not panicking
You're
at
the
all.
first one that wants to go ahead and do a belly flop off the Skyway.
Oh, please. You're absolutely out of your mind.
This guy sucks.
We've been through this before. We'll say it again. It is baseball. It's the ebbs and flows. And once again, they lead the Baltimore Orioles by 6 games. They're lead the Yankees by 8.5 games. But tonight they got out hit. They got beat in Seattle by a team that's desperate for wins. No excuse. But
Talking about the Yankees, you do know
Yes.
that one said relief pitcher is not going to be playing anytime soon.
Oh, who would that be?
I keep forgetting his name, but you can go ahead and Google it. Let me go ahead and just put it to you this way. He's a very instrumental pitcher for this bullpen,
Mm-hmm.
and he violated the league's policy for either child neglect or domestic violence.
Yes, I
That's what
saw
it was.
that yesterday, and I should have that guy's name in just a moment.
It's Santos or whatever. I don't.
Well,
it's a
Major
Spanish
League
guy.
Baseball has taken a stand, right or wrong on
Hold on.
this.
Yeah,
Go ahead
no,
and
they're
get that.
taking a stand. At least Major League Baseball is taking a stand on something, unlike the National Football League when it comes to gambling. But do we really need to go down that bridge, Pete?
Oh, let's go down that bridge really quick because I want to get this guy's name at this. Jimmy Cordero. That's
it.
his name.
Their closer, Cordero.
Yes, Jimmy Cordero. So big loss for the New York Yankees, but the right thing to do, I think every league should take a stand on it, and that's how you eliminate it. Now, you wanted to talk about gambling. You wanted to get something off your mind. I mean, we haven't seen it in baseball yet. Thank God for that, but we've seen it in football. So what do you have to say?
See this in baseball, Peter. You won't see this in baseball. They're too good at covering the poo-poo up, okay? Come on, let's be real. The NFL's got a long way to come, buddy. A long way to come in order to go ahead and cover up these things. But you heard it here first, and I'm going to repeat again in the next couple of weeks. Sources are saying you're going to hear a lot more about other players, including possible coaches that have been gambling in the National Football League as well. Strap it on, baby.
I'm not surprised.
It's about to get really lit up in here.
I'm not surprised at all. Let's go back out to the comments here, or go out to the comments for the first time. Roger Shue says, first as always. Roger again, where'd you go, Troy? You locked up? I guess he is. Roger says, hurry up. Dynamite is on. LFG to Mr. Harry the Greek right there. Roger says, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Trask. We always talk about that. Let's talk about Justin Steele having the lowest ERA in Major League Baseball, plays for the Chicago Cubs. We can't say that on this show. Of course, the All-Star game coming up. We'll get back to that in a moment. And innocent until proven guilty. Now, going back to that, because I know we're jumping around. We're jumping to baseball. We're jumping to football. We're jumping about gambling. But that's what we do here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. The report was that
you want to talk about what we had for dinner?
Well, no, we definitely are not going to talk about that.
Are you sure? Are you excited?
You probably had all kinds of hot dogs. You know, you probably watched that hot dog eating contest, the 62. I couldn't, after watching that, I couldn't eat a hot dog. Honestly,
well,
I was
just asking, did one said person learn anything like I told them?
Well, again, you said it best that there would be gambling in the NFL as long as they got into bed with Las Vegas and all the gambling institutions. I tell you what, we're not going to waste time here. Open phone line. Let's go out to one of our favorite callers. Curtis leading it off here on the Sports Web. You're on with Early, along with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. Go.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
My man, Curtis. What's happening, brother?
I had a tooth pull today, man.
Uh-oh.
You're going to have to talk into that phone a little bit. Because
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. There we go.
Are you going to sound like Mike Tyson?
Oh, please.
Yeah, I used to love Robin Gibbons, and then she started talking, so I hit her in the mouth.
Oh, jeez. You know, we just started talking about domestic violence with the pitcher.
Man, I'm gonna pip slap that ass.
No. No. Let's not.
No, he's going to straighten her out.
No, don't do it.
There's no place in baseball. There's no place anywhere in any kind of sport, or as a matter of fact, in this day and age, for that kind of behavior.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right. Rays are losing right now, looking like possibly a 4-game losing streak. You concerned? I got to ask the questions here because Harry's going to roll his eyes.
Oh, God.
Are you concerned? And then, Curtis, I know you're a Red Sox fan, but what do you think of the young Wander Franco and Randy Arozarena making the All-Star game?
Well, I mean, there's always young Rays that make the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it is what are they going to do in the postseason?
Well, that is a great point.
The other question you're not posing, Peter, and I'd like to ask is why didn't the Tampa Bay Rays, who have the best team in all of baseball record-wise, not have the most players like the Texas Rangers?
Well, I mean, they had 4 players, but you're exactly right. I think it comes down to the fans. I think it comes down to the voting. And before he got into the All-Star game yesterday, replacing Aaron Judge, I was about to come on this program and absolutely let Major League Baseball have it because there is no way he should have made the All-Star game in the first place. Major League Baseball wants to be associated with a young player like Wander Franco. He's one of the most talented shortstops in the league. That is the problem with this league in the first place. They do not promote their young superstars.
Let's if we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. I believe that all-star voting is such crap and all across all sports.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like it for the fans? Would you eliminate it for the fans? I mean, it's supposed to be a fans vote, but would you eliminate that? Leave it up to the peers, leave it up to the managers and other players around the league?
Well, I'd like to see.
I'd put metrics in there, Pete.
I'd like to see players that actually play make the all-star votes, get the all-star votes.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like it's like the new thing. Like, have you seen the new thing with the NBA now? If you don't play, I think it's like 70 games or something a year now, you don't even qualify for the MVP anymore.
Correct.
You know what? And you won't even fill 2 teams.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, you're 70 games. What do they think? They're all Michael Jordans? In this day and age, you get brushed the wrong way. Oh, he's on the IL for at least 10
exactly.
days.
And it's crazy because
10 days out there, man. I got to
It's
protect
loading.
that asset.
It's loading, because the NBA players today are better and more talented.
Yeah.
Than the
It's like the refresh button. Everything is just circling in their brain.
Yeah.
Hey, Bandit, how are you, buddy?
I watched the stat last night, I believe it was, on YouTube, and some guy was saying that the kid Harrison Barnes that plays for the King, out of the last 3 years, he's missed maybe 6 games in 3 years.
Yeah,
like people don't do that anymore.
No, they don't.
No, you're into Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson. You're into the old school type of players.
Like, keep in mind, he went to North Carolina. He had a full college ride there. Went to a great program, and he's got a great mindset. He doesn't feel entitled. Sorry if I'm doing that to the younger players, but that's how it feels to me sometimes.
I love you and Harry. You and Harry are realistic sports fans. That's
sure.
why I can talk to you guys.
Say it again, because that's like my wife saying, "You know what, honey, you're right."
But honestly, listen. So every time you watch TV or something, they always have this GOAT debate with Jordan and LeBron, and I'm like, there's no debate. I mean, Harry, I know you're a Chicago guy.
No, man. Even if I wasn't a Chicago guy, all you had to do is just watch both eras.
You watch the greatness of Michael Jordan. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just baffles me how you compare LeBron to Jordan, and it's like there's no comparison.
Right.
Like I take nothing away from LeBron. He's a great talent.
Great player.
Great talent.
He's a great actor too. Anybody see those flops?
Well, did you ever see him in Trainwreck? He was pretty good in that.
How about this? This? I think he went to Miami to learn more than just to win championships from D-Wade. He learned how to flop as well.
No, I'm not kidding, man. Did you see, I get those videos once in a while. A guy brushes them, and it's like, oh, my God, he got shot with an AK-47. He's dying.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Well, it was a period of time where you couldn't even touch LeBron's jersey. They called foul.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. And they said something about the Jordan rules. What are you kidding me?
Right. If Jordan were in this era right now, he would absolutely kill everybody. We all know it. But I know something else is on your mind.
I will tell you this. There was one person, I can't remember who said this, but they said if Jordan actually played in this era, that he would average over 40 points a game. Just
easily.
try to grasp that for a minute.
Right.
I think it was Michael Wilbon said he'd probably average 50.
Probably would.
I've heard some ridiculous things like that. 50 is that's exorbitant, man. And he wouldn't be doing it from the 3-point line
There's
either.
no defense anymore. It's not as far-fetched as you guys think, Curtis and Harry, because you don't have a big man. And on top of it, you basically don't have any defense, because what you said is, to me, so far, is you can't even touch a player because they're salt as Charmin in this generation.
They're salt as Charmin.
Here's my point to people.
Yeah.
You know, when they get to this whole GOAT debate, if you look at the top 6 or 7 scorers in the league all time, everybody has played at least 20 years except for Michael Jordan.
Right.
Kareem played 20. LeBron played 20. Kobe played 20.
Right.
Kareem played 20. Like all these, Michael Jordan played 15 seasons.
Yes.
And if you remember the season where he dropped 62 in Boston, he missed the whole season because of the Liz Frank injury.
Correct.
Sounds like you're hating on today's players, though.
Well, that's
Don't
what
do that. Don't do that because they're going to cancel you.
Oh, please.
Opinion. Here comes the canceling.
You shut up and be quiet.
Shut up.
No
I don't care what they say. The proof is in the stats.
Yes.
This guy, how many seasons did he play in Washington?
And still played. Do you know how many games he played in this final season? Anybody want to take a guess?
I think it was like 82.
I think he played upward over 70 games that year.
Yes.
I mean, just think about that.
Yeah, still playing at a pretty high level.
What is Jordan is at like 34,000 points, and he only played 15 seasons. And you could take one of those seasons away because of the Liz Frank injury.
Correct.
Like,
you could.
seriously.
And just imagine if he didn't go and retire for those last couple of years. I mean,
the retirement.
Well,
the retirement.
Right. See, I know what you're right.
The retirement.
If it wasn't for the retirement, they said they possibly could have won 8 straight.
They probably could have. I mean, because they beat the Knicks, and who did the Knicks get over when they went to the championship versus the Houston Rockets? The Bulls without Michael Jordan. And of course,
I wanna go ahead and say something.
Yes.
Because I did say a guy's name was Charles Barkley. Did you guys know that Charles Barkley, he's so underrated as a player? You know, he actually won an MVP of the NBA.
Of course, 1990.
And when Michael Jordan was in his prime, just think about what kind of a season Charles Barkley had to have in order to win that. That's just incredible.
Hey, he's not the round mound of rebound for no reason, man.
That's true. That guy was an absolute beast.
That guy. Listen, if you remember the Space Jam movie, there was a reason Charles Barkley wasn't with the rest of the guys when the other guys were getting tested. Charles did pretty much everything he did by himself in that movie.
Right.
And I was like, why is Charles being singled out? But Charles was a great dominant player. And, you know, like they say, if it wasn't for Jordan, a lot of those guys would have a lot of rings.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right about that, Curtis. Final here. Update the score. The Rays fall to the Philadelphia Phillies. Now that's a 4-game losing streak. 8-4. They had no answer tonight when it came to the pitching staff. It didn't matter who they put out there. The Phillies just hit the ball hard everywhere, sprayed it all over the place, hit it out of the ballpark, hit doubles.
Highs and lows, baby.
Yep.
Highs and lows.
The ebbs and flows. So just stand by. Yes.
I'm pretty sure some of your listeners and your comment people are going to have some opinions about what I have to say.
Go ahead.
Like I said, Stephen A. Smith also said it worse. LeBron is respected and Jordan was feared. You didn't want to play Jordan.
Exactly.
You knew it was going to be a long night. And there was another stat that I saw that only one person has ever scored 50 points against the Bulls, and that was Dominique Wilkins.
Yep.
And Dominique Wilkins he's also one of those guys like Charles Barkley, probably one of the most underrated players that we've seen in NBA history.
God, he was great.
You got to love this. We start out the show talking Rays and Bucks, and then it goes right to Michael Jordan versus LeBron James in the NBA these days.
Because we're talking about the original GOATs.
Right, absolutely. All right, I got to ask you, yes, really quick, Curtis. Tristan Wirfs came out with a prediction on a Minnesota Vikings podcast. And again, before you fans out there say, well, what is he supposed to say, Pete? I've asked players this before, and they said take one game at a time. He says 12-5 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2023.
Gee, Peter, what was he supposed to say?
Well, I'm supposed to say take one game at a time. But Curtis, yes.
Go ahead. I got you. I already got the answer to this question for you.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Number one, Todd Bowles might be a returning head coach,
but
everybody that's going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is literally going onto an unknown team. They don't know what the philosophy is. They don't know anything. Everything is unknown. And if anything in the NFL we know about the unknown is if it hits the ground running and it grows confidence and consistency,
it builds that momentum, baby.
They can have a great season.
They can.
I think they could be
because guess what? Did anybody expect Seattle to do that last year?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Let the truth. Will you shut up and be quiet?
Turn your microphone down a little bit. You're giving me a headache and agita.
Is it past your bedtime? Are you past your curfew at this point, Harry the Greek? Well, what's going on?
I'm gonna go Harry's team. Listen, I'm gonna go Harry's team.
Okay.
That Chicago Bears. That year they went to the Super Bowl where it was Lovie Smith versus Tony Dungy. We knew how great that defense was, but we didn't expect anything from that offense. And guess what? They did just enough to get where they needed to be.
True. Rex Grossman is our starting quarterback. Remember that, Harry?
My boy, baby. My boy. Sexy Rexy.
I got another one.
I still shake like a whore in church thinking about him.
Oh, my God.
That's just like the 2000 Ravens. Trent Dilfer did just enough.
Hey, man, don't knock on my Trent.
DLG quarterback. Don't lose the game quarterback.
But on a serious note, I do have to ask my boy on the other line.
Yes.
What did you have for dinner this evening?
Oh, God. Why?
I got it's I'm just feeling nostalgic here.
How about that? How about that for dinner?
I got a tooth pulled today, so remember I couldn't eat it.
Yeah, he's probably going with a liquid diet, which consequently Joey Chestnut said he was going to have after the 62 hot.
Peter, you mind if I hear what he's had for dinner?
Sure, go for it.
What did he have?
I hate you. I really do.
What did he have for dinner?
He doesn't. He just got his tooth pulled. What is wrong with you?
I want to know.
About what?
What did you have for dinner?
What did you have for dinner, brother, when you had your tooth pulled?
I ate a popsicle.
Okay, good. See, that's not bad. A popsicle.
I ate a couple popsicles.
We're gonna call this segment "What's Cooking Up in No Place Really." I mean, Newport Richie.
How about this? I'll tell you what I had yesterday, though. I had to actually work last night for 4th of July.
Oh, ouch.
Ouch. How does that work? How do you work for 4th of July, by the way?
At least he works.
Okay.
Because my boss is a D.
Oh, okay. All right. But I don't want to get you fired here, so.
Oh, no, I don't, man. You think I care about that?
Well, I do think you care about it. If he does hear you saying it, it is your job. Come on now, Curtis.
Anyway, listen, I'm being requested by the wife to go in there and say goodnight to my daughter.
It's a great segue because we got Larry Bumgarner coming on. Would you shut up and be quiet? Happy wife, happy life. We got Larry Bumgarner from Best Hope Counseling coming on.
It's happy partner, happy life now, okay?
I don't know why you kind of go with this or say this kind of stuff with me, but you're just really cruising for a bruise in the night. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with my co-host, Mr. Harry, the Greek professional handicap.
You missed me, buddy.
I did miss you. I missed you a lot. Again, updates. The Rays go on to lose to the Philadelphia Phillies, 8-4, 4 in a row. They've lost now. Don't lose your mind. Let's go back out to these comments, and then we'll get out to Larry. Play that commercial once again. Evening, guys. We almost are there. Preseason football, y'all. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Roger says, hey, KR. Sitton says, are the Bucs making any more moves? I don't foresee it, but I'm not going to – I don't think they have a lot of cap left, right? So a lot of people say Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel. I don't think they're going in that.
I don't think – Peter, that's a great point. You and I have been talking about that for a couple of months now. I don't think the Bucs are going to really spend any more money to try to find any, say, very not just marketable players, but very high-profile players like a Dalvin Cook or even an Ezekiel Elliott because of the financial situation that they're in. However, with that being said, especially when preseason starts and other players start to get cut, there's going to be some pretty big players out there that aren't going to demand a lot of money that Tampa could get invested in, like another running back and even possibly another offensive lineman, and possibly, looking to upgrade the position from a K Darton. I mean, that could be a possibility.
Cade Otton is definitely a big time question mark on this team. That tight end position, that whole room is very young. So who knows? Somebody could be cut, and then you pick them up for a minimum deal, but they don't have a lot of money.
Because the young man Mercedes Lewis, not young, he's going to be available. And let me tell you something: if Chicago doesn't jump on Mercedes Lewis, even though they have two very, very good tight ends on that roster, let me tell you something. Mercedes Lewis is a decent pass catcher and an extraordinary run blocker and a pass protector. I mean, just unbelievable. Probably top 3 in all the National Football League when it comes to run blocking and pass protection.
All right, and I agree with you, and that may be where the Bucs go. A lot of people looking at pass catchers, they may go with somebody that blocks because you want to continue to emphasize this run game. Let's go out to Ralph. Hi, Peter. Talk with you later. Jim says hello. We'll see you, Ralph, later. Teresa says, Harry, loving your cat. Roger says, raise up. This is what you get for that, Roger. There you go. Jim says Reds win. Roger, Bucs win 8 games at best. KR says, well, the Rays are going through a funk. Roger, KR again. I think the Bucs are going to surprise people. I give it 10-7. Roger says, Pete, when do you want? I think he's saying your wings. As soon as possible, my friend. No wife, happy life. Okay. I don't see the Bucs making any more moves. They're going to work with what they got. Misador says Bucs are going to have to affirm.
Buddy, that's comment of the week right there. That's funny.
God. Bucs going to have to affirm anyone else they sign. And then
he's supposed to say no partner, happy life. I have to reiterate that.
Greek, you think maybe some veteran minimal contracts that's certainly possible, and Bucs need depth. No need to look top tier. Tell you what, Harry, let me put you into the lobby here. We're going to get on our guest. We're going to, I'll bring you back in a moment. Stand by right there. We're going to go ahead and go out to this newest sponsor of the Sports Web. Very proud to have him aboard. And of course, Best Hope Counseling on the evolution of sports talk television. Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. All right, welcome back to the evolution of sports talk television. Let me go out to Harry the Great. Let's go out to Larry Baumgartner. Welcome to the evolution.
Thanks so much.
Fresh meat.
and I got to tell somebody something, because everybody's like, how does he get on the sports web? And this man right here, not only is he a licensed marriage and, of course, a family therapist, but also he has a little bit of a sports background. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. Introduce yourself here to the webheads.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on the show here. Yes, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in Florida as well as Minnesota. And I actually work with athletes. I've been doing this for almost 10 years, helping folks. And I basically work a lot with current and former athletes. And let's be honest, right? When you're an athlete and kind of, maybe your relationship isn't as good as it could be, that's going to affect your performance on the field, right? So I help current athletes as far as kind of get their, kind of mental health state better. I help them with the relationships, kind of reconnect, rebuild, restore, as well as just even folks that are like no longer in the league, right? Because there's an identity thing that happens there. And so I've been able to help some folks kind of start anew, right? Some kind of life and career transition. So love what I do, and been doing this for, like I said, for a long time, and I'm certainly very happy to be on the show with you guys.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Can you tell us some of those athletes that you work with by name, or you can't share that with
us? I can't share that. Yeah.
Can't share that. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it's what, whether it's this person or that person, anybody in Florida, Minnesota that just kind of wants to talk with somebody about kind of making that next step and kind of making, happier life. Please give me a shout. Love to help you.
Absolutely. All right. So I got to ask you here, because we're going to talk some sports, and then once again, we're going to go back and how we relate this to sports. But what do you think about the Tampa Bay Rays right now? Hot start, but kind of slumping, 4 in a row. Any worries? I mean, talk about this team overall. What do you think about them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rays have just always been just a really great ball club, right? I mean, Cash knows what he's doing, right? And obviously, coaches before him, they just kind of they always strive to just work your butts off, put 100% into what you're doing, do those skills that kind of take you to the top. So I personally am not worried about the Rays. I think they're gonna do well. They're gonna win the East. And yeah, they're maybe last 3 or 4 in a row here, but the bottom line is they have some great talent, And one of the things I was just thinking about is this just Jason Adam guy, right? I mean, like this guy that kind of was from the Cubs and now he's like a dominant pitcher. I mean, that's just incredible. It's another example, right, where maybe another person was on another team, and they came to the Rays and kind of learned the Rays pitching system, whatever, or they obviously prospects from the farm, and like they just know how to pitch, and I'm just like, how is there a particular person, or is it a particular system that like helps these guys just rock and roll, whether it's Price, whether it's Snell, whether it's Casimir, obviously folks from the past there, like what is it that helps them become this great pitching phenomenon team?
It's a great point. I mean, Harry always talk about it here on the Evolution. Let's talk about that a little bit. An athlete switching
from a city.
Bandit. Well, there you go. I got Bandit too, right there. There's the cat right there. If you don't know, there's Bandit making an appearance as always, Larry. But is that one of the
on here?
You shut up. Is that one of the issues that you talk about with an athlete changing cities and how stressful it can be? Because we know that athletes put extra pressure on themselves with the big time contract. Is that an issue you talk to them about?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things too is, whether you've just been cut, right? And you're like, well, do I try to go for another team, or am I, is this it for me, right? And so it's kind of like looking at what their skill sets are, because obviously someone that's a professional sports person like has tons of relatable skills to other things, right? I mean, just the systems, the logic, and all that kind of stuff, as far as all the stuff they have to put together to be on the field and perform. That's like, there's a lot of great things they can do. And so it's a matter for someone to be able to think, okay, so I was great at this. What can I do now? I mean, I'm not going to go work at McDonald's, right? Or I'm not going to go work at, something like that. I'm going to actually go do something different. And whether it's going back to college, or it's, going and being a realtor, which I know a lot of folks do that after their playing careers, whatever it may be. But I think there's really a big change when whether you're a role player or a star player, right? And somehow comes to your end. When you were playing, you might have went into some local place, and people are like, oh geez, there's so and so, and those players got that attention. And now when they're no longer playing, they're not going to get that, right? So it's really kind of it's an identity, kind of an ego check as well. So it's a matter of like, well, you know what, you had that great career and you did some great things. Now how can we transfer some of that attention or kind of your qualities into something else, right? I mean, there's certainly people, that are professional athletes and they go on to do other things outside of the field, and they're rocking and rolling, right? So it's a matter of just having that discussion with them and learning what they can do to take that next step forward in life.
Great stuff here. We're on with Larry Bumgardner, Best Hope Counseling. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. Harry, you got a question for this man right here?
Yeah, actually, it's not sports related. What type of therapies and counseling do you actually deal with? Are you specializing, like, say, drug dependencies or, say, gambling addictions? I mean, just asking for a friend.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Actually, I specialize. I'm a relationship therapist. Okay, so relationships are kind of what I've kind of been known for the past 10 years. And so whether it's romantic, whether it's coworkers, whether it's teammates, siblings, mother, family member stuff, I do a great job as far as helping them kind of reconnect and help them work toward the type of relationship they want. And the other thing is I work with individuals too, right? I mean, whether it's men's issues, whether it's life career transitions, of course, we can work with folks that are, in depressive states or anxiety.
So you're basically very well rounded with that. So
Yeah,
you've actually
definitely.
taken care of a lot of different things. Boy, that's
Yeah,
really
definitely.
that's
And
great to have you part of our show.
I love it. Thank you. And so I think it's a matter of just being able to. I mean, there's certain things that I'm not, a specialist in. I would refer those people out. But I know what I do, and I know that I do a pretty good job helping folks because when we have those conversations, I can see their changes, and they're like, hey, thanks for asking that question or whatever it may be, and so we're able to kind of take that next step. But I tell clients all the time, like, I just ask you the questions because I'm kind of the question guy, and so I ask questions, and they have to think about what it is they want to do. And then the next session comes by, and I'll say, hey, what's new? What's better? What's different? And they'll be like, well, I did this. And then we talk about how that affects not only just them, but even in a relationship, right? If there's something you do differently and maybe your partner will respond a little bit differently, then what happens after that? Because of that, right? Then what happens? We just have these great conversations about what it is, where is it they want to go, and what they're doing to make it happen.
Good stuff there. Let's go back out to the comments here. Let's go out to Sittin', Bucs 13-4. Going to get your thoughts on this because Tristan Wirfs had a prediction out there. I know you're somewhat of a Bucs fan there, Larry. Daniel says, go Tampa Bay Buccaneers 11-6. Good stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
I also like the 13-4 prediction. Let's go out to Kathy. You look and sound amazing, Larry. Thank you very much, Kathy.
Ooh,
appreciate
yeah.
that. And
Thank
KR says, welcome aboard, Larry, and the cool stuff. Well, you talk about relationships, and people kind of say, you know what, relationships, marriage, and stuff like that. But there's also relationships in sports. How important is that relationship between an owner and a general manager? How important is a relationship between a general manager and a manager? How important is it, Larry, for a manager and his players in sports?
Absolutely, very important, right? I mean, and I always talk with clients about, like, it's about communication, right? It's about being open. It's being honest. It's being upfront. The bottom line is that you want to make sure that owner and that coach or that owner and that general manager, that they're all on the same page, right? Because I think one of the things that sometimes we sometimes like is we don't speak up because we don't know how they're going to react. Well, if you don't ask the question, and obviously in a nice manner, like, you're never going to know how they're going to react, right? It's so funny when I work with couples. Sometimes I'll let's say a partner will say, like, yeah, I'm afraid to say something, and I say, why don't you ask your partner right now how they would react, and that person will say, that sounds good. Like, you could just ask that, right? But you don't know because you're hesitant or you're shy or all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we could do it in our sessions, right? But I'm like, just ask them. Hey, you know what? I really love. I wish that I could go. I wish I could go golfing more, right? Hit the range, all that kind of stuff. But maybe a client's afraid that how their partner's going to react or something because it's time away from them, and that partner's like, "Go have fun, yeah, absolutely. I'll do my own thing over here. It's okay for me I can find something else to do, So it just really all comes down just the communication, and just treating people how you want to be treated, right? I mean, we're all humans, right? We're not perfect, but it's really the point of just communicating, feeling free to have that open dialogue. And so what that owner and that general manager or the general manager and the coach, I mean, obviously those kind of hierarchies, you want to make sure you know where each person's going, because if you just assume, we know what that means, right? We want to make sure that those guys are on the same page, whether it's, hey, you know what, we're going to hit the draft really hard, or we're going to hit the free agency really hard, whatever it may be, but just have that open dialogue, whether it's email, text, obviously phone, face to face, just to be able to communicate, and have the best type of relationship they want to have.
And I think I would have to say that's the reason why you have so much success right now in the Tampa Bay area. You look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, they seem like they're in lockstep. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they seem like they're in lockstep. And the Rays have always been kind of like that. So we'll see if they can make a move to possibly win a World Series here. Now, speaking about the Rays, there has been some issues with their superstar, Wander Franco. Let's see if Mr. Franco went to see you, and what you hear from it is that he seems like kind of a loner. He's a kid. He's not necessarily the best teammate. He's been somewhat given everything, and now he's starting to hit a wall here. How would you deal with an athlete like Wander Franco?
I guess one of the first questions I would ask him is, what does he want out of counseling? What is his best hope from our talking? And the bottom line is, whatever he says, hey, I want to be I want to be a better teammate, or I want to do this, I want to do that. Then I kind of help them. I help them like, I want them to think about what it's like to be that way, right? And whether, I'm just saying an example, right? But let's just say someone says, hey, I want to be a better teammate. Then I would say, okay, define what that means, right? What would you be doing as a better teammate? And so you may say, hey, I'd be when I get to the dugout in the morning, I'm giving guys high five, kind of that rah rah kind of guy. And that would be like, okay, so what else would you notice that you were this better teammate, right? So you may say 5 or 6 things, and I may say something like, when is the last time that you were that person? And you may say, you know what, I was that way when I was 15 or whatever like that, or some prior time. And I would say, so you were that person. What's preventing you from being that way today? And I'm dead serious in the conversation, because I know by them telling me that they've already accomplished it. It's an instance of success. And if they want to repeat it, they certainly have the ambition, they have the capacity, they have the capabilities to get there again. And maybe we try to repeat those kind of situations, or how he was as a person, right? Like, how were you this person that was a little more outgoing and you're not right now? You can still do it. So what needs to be around you, or what you need to be in mindset, maybe, right? To think that I am a part of this team, and I want them to know that I'm here for them as well. So it's a matter of them kind of looking back, but also maybe there might be some changes they need to make too. And I challenge them, and I'm like, what do you think, right? You've been with this team for whatever, X amount of months, all that kind of stuff. What do you think would be how do you want to present differently, right? What is it you want to see from yourself? How do you want your teammates to react to you? And then we would go week by week saying, okay, so what's new, right? What's better? What's different? How has been the interactions between you and the teammates that's made you feel like you are this better teammate?
All right, let's go out to Harry the Greek. You got a question for him? Go ahead.
I do. We're going to switch gears a little bit. You don't have you take me off of full screen.
Okay.
Because I just I have a couple of questions. And again, I don't know much about you, Larry. Again, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we're going to get a lot more of a chance to
Get to know
communicate
you.
and speak and get to know you and stuff.
Right.
But do you like to gamble at all? I mean, are you the casual person that likes to play fantasy, or whether or not you may dabble around in a couple of games? You don't even have to answer that, because here's the lead-in question that I wanted to ask you. What do you think about the National Football League, the NBA, the NHL, and even MLB going to bed with FanDuel and all the other big major sports books? I mean, how does that make you feel? Do you think it's going to tarnish the game? I mean, what's your general thoughts? And I don't want to lose sight on the very first question I asked as well.
Yeah, I guess I'm not much of a gambler, to be honest with you. And so as far as how it affects
That's
the game,
okay. I'll help you with that. hence the reason for the name Harry the Greek. Go ahead. Sorry.
I gotcha. And so as far as it, like, kind of being all merging with the FanDuel and all that kind of stuff, I think it's, I mean, that's a great question. I guess I've never really thought of it as far as if it would be something that's, good or bad. I think it's just the way that sports is going. You know what I mean? There's obviously changes, evolution in sports throughout the years, and I think it's just a matter of, it's just the times, right? You see other things that are involved with the gambling and all that kind of stuff, and so I'm still gonna watch, right? I'm still gonna be a fan. And I don't think it's gonna affect the players that are on the field. I think they're still going to perform at their highest level, and so I think it's just it's something there, but I don't think it's really going to, in my opinion, right? I don't think it's really going to make a negative impact on the sports. What do you guys think?
Well, I think there's something negative about it, because there's always, that school of thought that the integrity of the game could be compromised, because you look at a man like Isaiah Rodgers, right? I mean, he's making pretty good money, not overly, not like $10 million, but he's making lots of money, and he's putting 50 bets out there, which, range from $50 to $100, with the largest one being $1,000. And the reason why you're doing it is a prop bet. So you're not sure if you bet the under or the over. So it kind of compromises the integrity. If something along the lines of an athlete came to you, or let's just say a fan would ask you this question: Why do you think athletes gamble with knowing that they're basically secure? Is it because of, the mindset of, you know what, I can get away with it, there's no rules that apply to me, or is it the thrill of it?
I would say it's both. I think
Ooh, he walks that politically correct straight line. I like this guy, Larry. Larry, I need to interject. Peter, bring us all back together. There was a reason why, Larry, I asked you that question. Because honestly, I read people very well. I'm not saying I'm a counselor or anything like that, but I do play a lot of poker. And I had you pegged as an average, happy-go-lucky individual who absolutely loves sports, and he's going to see the positive in everything. And to me, you're the quintessential optimistic person. I, on the other hand, I'm a very cautiously optimistic, and I want to see, the good in things such as that. And Peter will attest to that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's the average opinion of people that are fans in the National Football League and sports around the country. And you just heard it. Okay. And we're not trying to poison you and thinking something like that's going to happen, but it's already happening, Larry, unfortunately, in the Major League Baseball. Not so much in baseball, but it's already happening in football, and it's already happened in the NBA, and now it's going to start infiltrating the coaches and the players, and it's just going to continue to go on and on and on, when in fact, it has no business at all in any of these venues, because it's just made it too easy for the players to gamble and coaches.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It should be just for the fans. But I appreciate you answering that question with honesty, because there was a point that I was trying to make, because we've had previous shows discussing this, Peter and I, and I've been dying to ask just someone outside of the realm, that normally does this, what do you think about it? But thank you so much. I didn't make you. I wasn't trying to kind of make you my guinea pig, but we did.
It's okay. Yeah. I mean, we're always up for discussion on stuff. Love it.
All right, love it. Let's discuss the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Larry, Tristan Wirfs again comes out 12-5. I mean, how do you see this team? You watched them last year. They only won 8. You had Tom Brady. I think there's a lot of lazy analysis out there saying, well, they lost Tom Brady, so this team has no chance. What do you say? Where do you stand on this? 12-5 or less than that?
Oh, less than that, definitely.
How far less?
Well, I mean, let's be honest, right? They don't have the quarterback they had last year, and so I think you're probably looking at maybe a 9-7. Maybe 8 wins. I don't see any more than that. I really don't. I was going to ask you guys as far as how is the quarterback looking, right? How is Baker? How is Trask? How are they looking against with this renovated kind of offensive line?
Nobody knows.
No one knows.
There are some reports out there that Baker is kind of taking control and taking command, and he has the advantage. And I think he has an advantage too. That's just my opinion, but I think
experience has him with the advantage, Pete.
Right.
Sure.
Right. I mean, how do you feel about it? You like Baker, or are you a Trask guy? Because that's going to be the talk here until somebody makes a decision, namely Todd Bowles and this offensive coaching staff. So where do you stand on this? Is it Baker Mayfield with the experience, some problems in his, some attitude problems?
Yes.
He could have used you for when he was coming out of Oklahoma. Just throwing it out there. I think there was a position where he was pointing to something when he was coming off the field. I mean, I don't know.
Larry, let's say you have a client like Baker Mayfield. What do you say to Baker Mayfield if he comes to you and asks for some help?
Same question I'd ask for the other people, right? What do you want to get out of this talking, right? What is your best hope from our talking? And if they want to be a better this, they want to do that, then I ask them, right? It's kind of the same system I do with all new clients, right? What is it you want to talk about, right? What do you want to get out of counseling? What difference would it make? Okay. And then what are some signs or some things you would notice that you were that person, right? So if you want to be, more open-minded, right? Then I'm like, okay, so what would that mean if you were open-minded, right? Well, then I'd be this, or I would do this, I would do this. Okay, perfect. Then how would you know, right? If that was happening, how would you know? What would be some things you'd be doing differently with the open-mindedness than when you didn't have it before? And that can be a varied thing, right? All clients are different. They all have different responses to it. So it's a matter of like just kind of how that conversation goes, and we would work upon what it is that he or she wants to be, and how by my questions I can help them get there, and then they make the changes. And then we kind of update every single week as far as, what's been happening, right? What's been a struggle, right? Or what? And here's the thing about solution focused therapy. So if I say to someone, I'm going to give you 30 days, right? And again, I'm just throwing this out, but I'm going to give you 30 days. I'm going to see if you can do whatever you want to do, right? And if that client only does 7 days that are correct, and the 23 they don't, I do not focus on the 23 that they did not. As a solution-focused therapist, we look at the 7 days when things were happening, whether it was day 1, day 7, day 14, day 21, day 28, whatever it may be, right? That's the times when you were successful at what you want to do. And so if there was a time, right, let's just say Baker, for instance, right, he was this person that he wanted to be, I would say, what was going on at that time that made you the person you wanted to be? That's really what it is, right? Because us as humans, we can recapture what we were at some point, right? At a certain point, I was a lot skinnier, right? And I know what to do that, right? But I haven't done it, right? So just a classic example. Just a classic example, right? But like I kind of get in touch with people's successful pasts, and we talk about what it was that helped them be there, and what either is in the way or what they could do to help get back to that point.
All right, you deal with marriage counseling. You talked about Tom Brady. How much do you think that rift, that relationship falling apart, had to do with his play on the field? Go ahead and take us inside of that situation. Trying to prepare to be an athlete. You've dealt with athletes before, but dealing with the trauma, dealing with some of the things that you have to deal with. Go ahead. Do you think that definitely affected Tom Brady's play on the field?
I think there's so many things that can affect your play on the field, right? Whether it's not the best relationship with this person, or you're in a relationship that's not the best, or you had some parenting issues, whatever like that, right? And I think
45 years old,
right? That too, yep. Age might be a factor, right? But so I think there's a lot of different stuff, and I guess it's really the point of kind of getting that mindset straight, right? And so the more things you can have better of, I guess that makes sense. The more they're going to perform better on the field, right? So, whether they're having a bad game, it might be worth a conversation to say, what happened here, man, right? And so, or whatever, and then they're like, oh, I'm just having this problem with this or this issue with that. Then we have that conversation, right? Let's work toward making that less harmful is not the word, sorry, but less
toxic.
Toxic, yep, like you, less toxic at that time. So when you go on the field, you can be sure to, be that blocker you want to be, or throw those passes on target, whatever it may be. But so it's a matter of really kind of finding out what is it they want to be, what I could do through questions to help them have a better mindset on the field.
Good point. It's great stuff there. All right, we talk about relationships when it has to do with sports. But let's go into marriage, which I would know nothing about because I've never been married before. I'm not with anybody.
This is my cue to leave.
Right. But my thing is, dealing with sports is always the husband likes sports. The wife doesn't necessarily like sports. And I always come up with the reason, and just talking to women out there, that the husband doesn't do enough to educate the wife on sports to get them into that. Is that a thing that comes up in your practice sometimes with dealing with marriage counseling?
As far as watching sports and the woman not kind of be a part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there are some times, yeah, and I guess I would ask the husband. I'd be like, would you like your spouse, in the case, would you like your spouse to be there while you're watching the game? And they would be like, yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, so how can you help? How can you invite her into that? Watching the game period there, and helping her understand that, hey, this guy's intercepted this ball, or this guy hiked the ball here, or like, you're not going to know unless you communicate, right? And some guys, I'll be honest, some of us have trouble communicating, right? We'll say that, right? And so it's a matter of like, just being patient, right? And the other thing is that's great is that if you show them something, right, or you tell them about something and something happens and their reaction is like, oh my, look at this, honey, look. I mean, like, what is that going to be like as a husband, right? I mean, and so to see your wife get get really ramped up about the game or wanted to see this or wanted to see that. It's a team thing then, right? It's not just you on the couch with the nachos and the pop, right, or the soda. It's actually the wife enjoying it too, and she's like, oh yeah, let's go watch the Bucs are going to play the Titans, and you don't want to see this player, that kind of stuff. I think it can bring a connection to the relationship that might not have been otherwise. And what could that help with next, right? Whether there's more watching sporting events, whether there's then more, maybe more affection, maybe more there's some intimacy, there's more better conversations as parents. There's so many different ways that couples can come together and do things together that can help, bring some confidence to each other. They can feel secure and safe in their relationship, and then they start talking about things in the future, right? You know what? Hey, hon, I really want to go take this cruise over to so and so, right? And you start doing it. It's there might be other times when you say that, and she's like, "Yeah, someday, right?" Well, then she just kind of blew you off, right? But if you spend time with her and share that you love her and you care for her, what could be the possibilities that could happen next? That's what I like to talk about couples. That's what I like to discuss with couples, because it's all about it. Here's one of the great things about relationships is small changes can have such a huge impact on our relationship. I mean, there's sometimes when like a female will say something like, how would I say this? She may say, I wish that he would hold my hand when we get to the Publix parking lot till we walk to the store, right? And so she was that to her husband, and I would say to her, so what would happen if somehow you drove up into the Publix parking lot and he grabbed your hand? What would that do for you? And she might say, it changed my day.
Wow.
It would change her day. Then what? You get more smiles, right? You get more this, you get more that. And it's all about communication, and it's all about providing the wants and the needs of your partner. And that's how you grow that relationship to where you want it to be. I work a lot with infidelity too, guys. Okay. And so there's many, many times when, one spouse is obviously cheating on the other, and we work toward the healing. We work toward, recovery, because there's going to be some shame, there's going to be some embarrassment, there's going to be some obviously anxiety, lots of different emotions and feelings, all that kind of stuff that person that was cheated on goes through. And so we talk with both partners at the same time, and it's like, what is it that's going to help you feel more safe, more secure? What is it that needs to change for you to feel more loved? And I say to the partner, right, whether it's a female in this instance, and I'll say, tell your husband what's going to make this a little bit better for you, or a little bit easier in this road to closure. And she may say, I'd like it if he gave me a hug in the morning, and not just got up and did his thing and went to work. So that starts happening. She tells him that I'm here listening to it. He's here listening to it. And he starts doing that. The next session, I say, what's new, what's better, what's different? And she says, he's giving me a hug in the morning. And I say, what's that do for you? And we just carry the conversation from there.
Awesome. Good stuff there. Great insight. I love having this guy on the show. We'll definitely have him back here on Monday night. We're going to have a Monday night, not Wednesday night, during the season and the upcoming weeks here. Go ahead and give me some final thoughts here on the evolution of sports talk television. Really quick, you didn't give us a number of wins, and you didn't tell us who you're for. Is it Baker or Trask, and how many wins for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And then once again, go ahead and promote yourself.
He
here,
did
Larry.
talk about the wins. He just didn't say who he thought the quarterback was going to be, and I can't believe it, because he doesn't look like the kind of guy that wants to hypothecate.
Well, I think I know it's just my opinion, but I mean, obviously, of those two, I still don't think that's it. I don't think that either quarterback's going to lead them to the promised land. I'll be honest. But I think division. Division. Yeah.
Shut up, Harry.
I said they're going to win the division. Peter.
Oh, you did say they win the division.
Okay.
What do you think I said?
I don't know what you said. All right. Go ahead,
I would say 8 or 9 wins. And I foresee Baker winning it just because of his past experience and how he, knows how to run an offense, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, sometimes he did that with the Browns, and obviously a little bit with the Rams there. But I think in the end, it'll be. I think Kyle will take over. I really do. And that might be 6, 7, 8, 9 games in the season. But I think Bowles and the crew are going to be like, thanks, Baker, but we're going to have this new guy and see what he can do.
You see, I think it's just the other way around. I think Kyle starts the season.
Yeah. Okay. So
All
yeah.
right.
and then just the bottom line. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I look forward to doing this. On Mondays and Wednesdays. But yeah, I'm with Best Hope Counseling. I'm a marriage and family therapist. Love working with relationships. Love working with athletes and professionals. Please give me a call 727-946. 1346 727-946-1346, and I also have a website, besthopecounseling.com, and please get in touch. Love to hear from you and help you guys out.
Larry, before you leave, you need to take your noggin, move it over to the right, because I am dying to see what that logo is, and it looks like a hockey team logo. Is that for Minnesota?
It's a Minnesota school. Yes, it's actually Bemidji State University.
And that's Minnesota. Is that? There you go. And you got Minnesota Wild right there. Yeah.
There it is. The Minnesota Wild.
Very cool.
Yep. Minnesota Wild and Vikings and all that jazz. So
well, we got to work on that.
Did you say Vikings?
I am a Vikings fan. Yes.
Oh God.
Okay.
Vikings and Bucs. Yep. Vikings and Bucs. You got it.
God. Give me the real quick here before you go. Give me the analysis on the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins last year.
Yes.
8 comeback wins.
Yep.
Lots of criticism with him. They won 13, but didn't have a defense. What are they going to do this year, Larry? Give me your analysis on that.
I think it's going to be
to the Bears.
Yeah, no, but I honestly I think the Lions are going to do pretty good this year. I just think with Campbell and all these kind of young guys that they got, I think they're going to do some good stuff. I don't think the Vikes will get 13 wins. I think they'll probably get maybe 10, 11. I think just with the losses of obviously we lost Delvin Cook. We losing or lost Adam Thielen and some other good folks there on the team. Defense, we're losing a lot of people. I think it's going to be a challenge. My hope, right? My best hope through it all is that the defensive coordinator, I think Flores, right? I think that was his last name. Yeah. I hope that he kind of rejuvenates the club and kind of helps them kind of put this defense together that as Vikings fans we've been waiting to see for a long time. I mean, shoot, of our 13 wins last year, I think what was like 10 by 1 point or something. I mean, it was just like that. Their field goal here or 1 point here, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I remember the Bills game and all those kind of great wins, right? But it's like, were there any times when we just like blew out a team? Maybe there was one, maybe there was twice, right? But like, I think it's going to be an uphill battle. But again, I have hope that we're at least get 10, 11 wins, and maybe we finish second in our division. I don't know. But obviously, I'd love us to win. I'd love the Buccaneers to win the East. But it's going to be fun to watch, and certainly look forward to the season.
I got to ask you this before you leave. One more last question. How does it affect your mindset when your teams lose? What do you do about that? Because any normal sports fan, their mindset is, oh my God, I got to go to work. I mean, I know my mindset on Monday, if the Bucs lose, I'm not necessarily in the best mood, but you're a counselor here. This is what you're paid to do.
I'd like to answer this for him, okay? He goes to his wife and he sits down and he goes, and she says, honey, what would make your day a little bit better? Would you like me to give you that hug? Come here, baby. I'll make you feel a little bit better. I understand that Kirk Cousins not only making you feel like this, but millions of other people out there. And losing Dalvin Cook, it's nothing near as bad as that defense was last year. So I do have empathy for you. I really do. But honestly, I'll answer it from he approaches his wife, and his wife helps him out. Please tell the truth.
Go ahead, Larry.
And honestly, to me, I love football, right? I love a lot of sports, baseball, obviously, and hockey. And I just look at it as it's a game. Yes, my team lost. That sucks, right? But the bottom line is I'm still going to be a fan. Right, whether the Vikings lose 10 or the Bucs lose 10, whatever like that. I spent 15 years in Tampa, so obviously I'm familiar with rooting for the Bucs and all those great Tampa Bay teams. So I'm able to compartmentalize it, right? Yes, I may watch highlights later and be like, okay, well, there's a we're having quite a battle between the Falcons and the Bucs, or having a battle between the Lions and the Vikes, whatever like that, right? But like, it's just a game to me, and I love watching. I'm a huge fan, but I don't let it affect my next moments in life. I might be sad about something, whatever, but it's not going to be like an all day thing. Might be bummed out, right? But the thing about it is what I do for a living. I don't even feel like it's a job. I love it so much.
That's really good. That's inspiring.
This is like the best. I've had a couple careers before this. This is absolutely the best career I've ever had. Obviously, I worked. Pete knows I used to work in broadcasting. But this is just something that I'm asking these questions, having these conversations with people, and I see week to week how their lives are changing on what they're doing. And when they get to the end, we're like, Larry, I think I'm at where I wanted to be. We don't need to do any counseling anymore. And I'm like, All right, that's cool. I'm with you. Let me know if I can help you in the future. But awesome. That's great. Good for you. And they move on, and they have the best days of their lives that they can have moving forward. That's just a great feeling to have.
That was great having him on tonight.
Absolutely. It was great having him on. Larry Bumgarner here of Best Hope Counseling. Thanks a lot for your time here on the
Thanks so much.
Sports Talk Television, my friend. All right. We'll see you
Thanks
soon.
so much. Take care. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Larry. You take care of yourself, buddy.
Good stuff there. I mean, a different perspective. I like different perspective. And he puts it out there. He basically says, hey, it's the sports. That's why I'm so crazy about it. That's why it kind of does bother me. You know what else bothers me? An empty phone line. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Let's go back out to these comments here. Sitton says, I can't blame Baker Mayfield for what he did in Cleveland, for crying out loud. It's Cleveland. They kill every quarterback. Let's go out to Mr. Curtis. We'll answer that question in just a moment using his second call. Curtis, welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Curtis.
I love his opinion.
Right.
But and I definitely agree with him about the gambling of the athletes.
Sure.
It's the thrill of it, and also whatever the other comment was. I definitely agree with him on that.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't think gambling is such a bad thing, man. I think these guys should be allowed to gamble as long as they're not gambling on the games that they're playing in.
There's too much doubt for me there, right? I mean, we got Isaiah Rodgers.
I'm gonna Dikembe Mutombo you.
Okay.
No,
to me, or no to Curtis.
To Curtis. No. No gambling, period.
There's too much doubt in it. And listen, Isaiah Rodgers, think about it now. The report was that he bet on a prop. Now, you know what a prop is. If a guy is a running back, let's say that week he knew his teammate and Jonathan Taylor wasn't going to play. Is that called insider trading? It is. That's a distinct advantage over everybody else. So what?
There was also more than prop bets, just to let you know.
Right, of course there was, but this was $1,000 bet on a prop. So let me ask you, if he knew that Taylor wasn't going to play, and he knew the game plan, because he's a defender, right? He knows the offensive game plan. He knows they're not going to run the ball. Wouldn't that give him a distinct disadvantage? And what if I told you he bet the under instead of the over? I mean, and
that's why I specifically said I don't think betting is not bad, but you shouldn't be able to gamble on your own sport. I mean, at all.
Be able to gamble on any sports if you're an athlete getting paid.
But you can go to any. You can pretty much go to any state in this country and gamble anywhere.
My point exactly. That's why they need to stop, get out of bed before you tarnish the game completely. This is coming from someone who's friends with one Pete Rose. Mm-hmm. This is coming from someone that knows firsthand about other athletes that are going to be getting caught real soon.
Harry, I respect you. I love you to death. But you got to remember, bro, these guys might be all pro, all star, whatever, but they're still human beings, bro.
Absolutely.
I'm saying it doesn't.
They signed the contract, man.
They listen. As humans, we all do stupid shit. Excuse my French. We all do.
No, it's not French. It's English, and I understood it perfectly fine. But let me interject here really quick, and I'm going to talk over you for a second. Is that going to be fair to allow this to happen, considering what they did to the 1919 Black Sox? Especially one guy by the name of Shoeless Joe Jackson, who's not in the Hall of Fame, who was banned from baseball, that never threw it.
One of the greatest baseball players ever.
Right.
But he never threw the World Series. Is it fair for other players, such as an Albert Bell, who got away with gambling, or a Michael Jordan, who got away with gambling, except he was forced to retire for 2 years? I'm just going to, I could just go continue on and on. And last but not least, it's not fair to a Pete Rose to allow this kind of stuff to happen. It's hypocritical, and it's all because about the money.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But guess what? here's the thing, Harry. We live in a different world nowadays. And you
ain't kidding.
And the thing about it is, and we all know this, you can't do anything to try to tarnish the shield of the NFL, or they're gonna get you. The NBA, you can pretty much get away with bloody murder in the NBA, but in the NFL, if you do anything to try to tarnish that shield,
you're correct. You're correct with that. But the NBA at least was proactive when they already found 2 referees 6 years ago that were betting and shaving points on games. You heard about it for a little while, and then it got all dusted away because they're in bed with them. They're making billions of dollars. Curtis, I need to reiterate a point here. In 2002, when your Tampa Bay Buccaneers were playing the Oakland Raiders for the Super Bowl, Las Vegas casinos wanted to make an advertisement, and they were going to pay $3.5 million for a 30-second spot in a commercial during the game advertising Las Vegas, and the NFL was steadfast, and the commissioner said it is of the devil. The NFL will never have a partner in anything that has to do with gambling. He brought up what happened with Pete Rose. He brought up what happened with baseball and the Black Sox and the whole 9 yards. But 10 years later, well, it may. 4 years later, after the collective bargaining agreements came around, everything started to come back together. Because of what? Because of this. But I do agree with you. Athletes should be allowed to gamble on different sports, but not in their own respective sports. But they can't do it. It's too late.
Oh, and here's my thing. You're absolutely 100%. You're 100% right. And that's like I was telling my buddy today. It's like the justice system. Everything is fine as long as it's in black and white. I said, but you got to forget, there's one more color. It's all about that green. So black,
right.
as long as it's black, white, as long as it's black, white, and green, nothing else matters.
Yep.
That's it.
Nothing else matters.
Nothing else
matters.
Man.
It's not fair.
It is not fair, but
not.
there's too much doubt now, and I feel like Harry is right, and we're just to the tip of the iceberg, if you will. Where
it's coming out, guys.
We're going to have more players and possibly coaches, and to me, the NFL has been asleep at the wheel because they have gotten in bed with gambling. They have gotten in bed with having a franchise in Las Vegas, which it would be unheard of 20 to 25 years ago, and they embraced it because of that specific reason. With embracing it, and we always talk about it, right? Freedom. You have freedom, but there's a downside to it. There's a downside to this. Now go ahead, Curtis. I'm sorry.
And also the ignorance in it is, if you know it's illegal and you shouldn't be doing it, which and if you are going to do it, how hard is it for you to get somebody else to do it for you? Honestly.
Well, that's
my point exactly. Hold on. Time out. What stops the referee or even a coach? How about a quarterback?
Yep.
Okay. That turns around and they call a timeout, and he's sitting there looking like a first base coach in a baseball game, touching his ear, rubbing his chest, grabbing his crotch, whatever. And that means give me 25 dimes that they're not going to get the first down. And they're running right up to the book that's in the stadium and making that play. Nothing. But you know what?
Well,
when that wouldn't happen is if they didn't have them in the facilities. That's when that crap would stop. And I'll tell you another thing. And I'm going to stand on a soapbox and I'm going to scream it from every mountaintop. You want this shit to stop? I'll tell you how it's going to stop. You start firing people permanently. And I promise you, you will end this. You will end any and all issues. And I don't care if it's one Mr. Tom Brady if he was still playing the National Football League. You get popped for gambling, you're done. If you were proven to gamble on it, you're done. I promise you, everybody else will fall in line.
Well, and here I agree with you 100%. You're 100% correct. I never doubt you guys anything. And you and Peter, I love you guys to death, and I watch you guys because I love your opinions. But the thing about it is as long as money makes this world go around, people tend to look the other way.
Then you hit him in the pocket. Then you hit him in the pocketbook, like Harry says.
And
fire him.
Yeah, that's it.
It'll stop.
Start suspending them for a year. Start suspending them for 2 years or for a lifetime.
A year won't make them stop it because they're going to get paid on the backside. You fire them, and now they've lost all their marketing. They lost their sponsors. They've lost everything.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep. Let's. It's not exactly the same subject, but let's touch base on this. What is the chances of John Gruden ever having a job in the NFL again?
about as good as Ozzie Guillen ever getting a job in Major League Baseball. And by the way, and the reason why I'm bringing up Ozzie Guillen is because Ozzie Guillen was one of the best managers in baseball. And John Gruden, let me tell you something, excelled over an Ozzie Guillen when it came to football. And I'm telling you now, they got zero chance of getting in. Zero.
Well, zero chance of getting a job again because he's going against the National Football League, and
but it's okay to beat your wife. It's okay to go ahead and rape or commit murder, but you didn't do it and still being able to play. Look, you want it to stop? Take a stance. Stop being hypocritical.
Yeah, and that's your point right there. Is take them away, and that's exactly what they're doing to these guys. But you know what I'm saying? They take it away when it's convenient for them. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Because I don't care what you say. I know that there's more gambling going on in the NFL than just the guys.
The report that scares me, Curtis,
it's coming out.
It's that there's a star player that lost $8 million last year to gambling. It is a star player.
Yep.
Star.
It's going to come out. And you know what, Curtis? You do know about the Indianapolis players that were busted for gambling, correct? You are familiar with it?
Absolutely.
Okay, what if I told you the game that they got busted on just so happened to be against the Minnesota Vikings? Does that strike any kind of chords with you? Hold on, Peter. Does that strike a chord with you, or is that just like another game?
I mean, it is. I'm
thinking. Do you know anything about? Now this is where you remember. This is where that comment saying they should be allowed to gamble on other sports. This is where you're going to change your mind. You're going to be like, click, click. The light bulb's going to come on. Do you remember the biggest comeback in NFL history? It was that game.
Yep. And that was the game that I was pointing to, that I thought that maybe that prop bet was laid. Or
there wasn't a prop bet. There was a game and one of the players, and it's coming out. It had to do with that Minnesota game.
That's not good.
But you're not going to hear too much about it because, oh no. What about the poor bastards that are actually betting the games, like myself, on a professional basis, or just the average person who's gambling his own hard-earned money to think that there could be a fix going on?
Yeah.
Well,
really?
I don't know if you heard about the rumor of Cam Newton and his family was putting money on Denver to beat Carolina in the Super Bowl that year.
It's just there's so many layers to this, and it's scary because
you'll never be able to peel them all back, because then you're going to start being
It's like steroids in baseball, right? You don't want to believe it. You want to be you want to be naive about this and think they did it all naturally during the home run chase, and now you find out all this information, and you're like, I can't believe this. And Major League Baseball is the same way. They took the money and they ran. Okay,
they had to.
They took advantage of it. But now anybody that's associated with that era is automatically, it was a steroid era. That's not fair to the players that haven't done it. It's the same thing with the NFL. It's not fair, but now people are going to say, well, who's gambling? Who did this? Games like that are going to come up in the conversation.
The problem is, and I'm not justifying it, but I can see some of these guys taking the money because guess what? Your next check is not guaranteed in some of these sports.
Then you cheated.
Especially in the NFL.
Then you cheated, and you need to be banned from sports altogether.
Just remember what this means, Pete. You ready? That's 25 large that they don't get the first down.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yep. And I'm just telling you the way it is. Curtis, thanks so much for calling in. Appreciate you using that second call tonight.
Yeah, man.
I definitely understand where you're coming from here. I mean, I watch people. Where I grew up at. I watch people bet on the coin toss. I watch people bet on is somebody going to get a third down catch. It's the craziest thing in the world. And if I know if it's happening on a street level, I can only imagine.
Bro, we used to gamble. We would gamble coming out of Derby Lane. It would be Flicker or the big store stand. It could be Champagne Tony, and a whole bunch of other people. We'd come outside, and just for shits and giggles, we'd bet $500 to see who would win a 40-yard dash, or we'd play $50 a ball. They were playing $1,000 a game in cornhole.
Yeah.
Okay, so gambling is never going to go away from anybody, but leave it to the people that are supposed to gamble, and it's not the athlete. I don't care if you're human or not. It's not the athlete.
Curtis, thanks a lot for the call, my friend. We appreciate you as always. Let me give you the Macho Man. As always, definitely don't be a stranger. One of my favorite callers out there. Let's go out to the comments, and then we'll get you out of here for the night because we're about to talk Turnbuckle talk, WWE, AEW action. Are you ready to go, Harry? You ready to
Turnbuckle?
talk?
See you later.
This guy sucks.
Oh, God.
I do have to say hello to my buddy Rolf Williams.
Okay, well, we'll definitely say hi to him. Let's go back out to sitting here. I can't blame Baker Mayfield for what he did in Cleveland. For crying out loud, it's Cleveland. They kill every quarterback. Is that a fair statement by sitting?
He's not far off. Let me tell you something. Cleveland was in the conversation of going and possibly even winning a Super Bowl and being very competitive with Kansas City and Buffalo. People just seem to forget that. Injuries plagued them. They had an extraordinary running game. But as far as killing the quarterback, not because the team was bad, that's because of what the management and the ownership did to poor Baker Mayfield up there. They played that young man and almost ruined his career by putting him out there when he was injured the way he was. His back was pretty bad. My hat's off to him. But at some point in time, you need to tell a person with his personality, son, you got to sit and you got to get better, and you got a lot of playing time ahead of you. So yes and no, I agree with this comment.
And it comes back to the shoulder too, the labrum situation. You know what his shoulder situation is coming into 2023. This will be Sandra Nagel right there, watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web with Amped Up Sports. Andrew says, "What's good, gents? What's good with you?" Going
Andrew,
back to my
brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Mickey says Rays have lost 4 in a row. Absolutely correct to a Seattle Mariners fan.
Shut up!
Mom again saying watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web with Amped Up Sports. I love St. Pete. 1252 Chicago Sports. I think Kyle Trask will start and show Baker a thing or two, but we will see. Andrew,
at least Mama's smart.
Will you shut up and be quiet?
This guy sucks.
All right. The big board says Shoeless Joe effing Jackson. Thank you, Harry Berg. David says, hey, Peter. Hey, Harry. What's going on, David?
What's up, David?
Let's go out to Christopher Cole. Evening, everyone. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah.
Two giant goofballs. What's up,
Hey.
everyone? Two giant again. If you ever want Harry to leave somewhere, just mention wrestling. That's exactly what you do. And the Legends. And they also got OBJ, who's definitely less than a supportive of quarterbacks. And it goes back to it with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And this is what Rick Spillman had to say about Baker Mayfield getting signed by the Bucs. He said he thought that Tampa Bay was not only the best opportunity for him now, but for the future. He's looking for a place where he can hopefully play well and finish out his career. He also says his observations of Bucs mandatory minicamp in June. He's really out there to prove he's the Baker Mayfield that was taken with the first overall pick. There's no question about the chip on his shoulder. If you look over the last couple years, it's been disappointing. But before that, he was almost living up to the billing of being a number 1 overall pick. He got Cleveland to the playoffs and then got injured, and he's had a few road bumps along the way. Of course, people will mention his 1-6 starts with the Carolina Panthers, but that's not really fair because he was thrown into the fire, didn't know the offense. Yes.
You know, I'd like to talk about it in a car analogy.
Sure.
Baker Mayfield, if he was an 80,000-mile tire, doesn't even have 20,000 miles of tread even worn off the tire. Okay, the guy's still young. He can still play. He's healthy, thank God. And you're going to find out what kind of player he's going to be. It's going to be a toss-up between him or Kyle. I think it's going to be by default. It'll be Kyle to start because of the fact that he was such a high draft pick. If he was a 4th-round draft pick, I don't think there would be a question that Baker Mayfield would be the starting quarterback. But everything is pointing towards Kyle because of being a high draft pick and the amount of money that they're paying Baker. Because let's face it, they're not paying Baker anywhere near starting money. They're paying him 3rd-string quarterback money, not 2nd, 3rd-string quarterback money. But the bottom line is Baker is a better quarterback, and he's probably going to get an opportunity to play this year.
I'm going to make you a bet that Baker starts him day 1, and I'll bet you a steak dinner, another steak dinner. Spillman goes on to, that's it. Spillman goes on to say from the introductory press conference in March, there is no question that he's in command down there. You could tell about his leadership by the way he walked around the field, the aura about him, the players believing in him. The one thing that I noticed was when he was throwing to the receivers, Mike Evans was kind of always in his line when he was throwing. Mike caught a couple from the other quarterbacks as well, but you can tell that even though they say it's an open competition, that the feeling that I got when I was sitting there watching it is that there is no question Baker will be the starting quarterback barring any injury. Your thoughts? That's a former general manager of the Minnesota Vikings. I get it. He had some success. I think he was with the Dolphins also, but that's a general manager right there giving his analysis. So your thoughts on him?
I'm glad you brought that up. Former general manager, former players. That's exactly what they are. They're just nothing other than what we do. We prognosticate and predict.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. It's not that they have inside information or anything like that. That's just an opinion. And just because he is a former general manager, I guess is supposed to bring some sort of validity to the statement or whatever the cases may be. You know what? May the best man win. And whoever the quarterback is, just make sure you support that team and you support that quarterback, because this team is still very extraordinary because of the high-powered defense that they have and the newfound running game that everybody has been clamoring for the last, 5 years.
Well, I tell you right now, you're exactly right. And you kind of stole my thunder and stole Spillman's thunder, because that's exactly what he mentioned. In fact, he says, don't be surprised by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And who does he compare them to? The 2022 Seattle Seahawks. He says one of the things that made Seattle's offense go a lot was that they had some pretty good running backs that could run the ball. They built that, and what Russell Wilson and even Geno Smith had last year was establishing the run game to take the shots and make the big plays down the field. I think that is critical for them as they go forward. But if they can get that going and kind of replicate something where no one really gave Seattle much of a chance last year, they're going to be they're going to be a team that you're going to be surprised by. That's basically what he said.
I agree.
So, I
agree. You got to get the turnbuckle talk, and I'm going to go ahead and go 7 up between the sheets, little brother.
All right, my friend, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
I'm promoted. We'll see you Monday and Wednesdays right here live on the Sports Web. And again, we keep talking about it. Eventually, we're going to start giving out predictions again. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do next.
Well, listen, you always have the floor. I mean, if you want to give out some games, feel free to give out some games.
I can't even get a word in edgewise against you. Are you kidding me?
Listen, Vegas has the Bucs at 6.5 right now. Do you think that line?
I have told everybody, and I'm tired of it. Yeah, it's going to go down even further.
Wow.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait till it gets down to 5.5, and mortgage your house and play the over. And this division sucks.
I agree with you. Well, Jason McIntyre of Fox Sports thinks the Saints are not only going to win the NFC South, but the NFC as a whole because of Derek Carr.
The guy that can't throw to his left and bounces everything because his shoulder is shot. Oh, by the way, don't believe me. Just wait till you see it this year.
All right, good stuff. Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire of 12.
Shout out to everybody.
Yes.
Thanks for the support. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Andrew Davis, I seen you pop in there. One of the giant goofballs, Mr. Legends. Thanks for everybody out there leaving out the comments. I'm going to leave it to you, Peter, and Mr. Ralph. Actually, bring Ralph in. Let me say goodnight to that poor guy. What's the matter with you?
Go ahead. There's Ralph Williams.
Hey, Harry.
Say hello. There you go.
Ralph,
hey,
how
Harry,
you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Let me I don't feel good unless I'm doing this the right way.
Oh, God.
You okay, Ralph?
Oh, God. Oh, geez. All right, Harry, get out of here. Great camera shot.
I'm coming back.
My radio show, Harry.
What'd you say, buddy?
Don't forget to listen to my radio show.
Yes.
Hey, you got to send me the link. I don't know what the radio show is. What radio?
I'll send it to you.
I would love to hear it. Ralph, yes. I did want to come on to say hello to you. I wanted to give you a little Dick the Bruiser love and a little Hulk Hogan, yes, or whatever the hell it is. And you guys have a great day.
No, you know something here, Ralph Maniacs. There you go.
All right, appreciate you. Thanks a lot, Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. All right.
Have a good one, Harry.
Bye, guys. You take care.
All right.
See you later. There we go. I tell you what, Ralph, we'll go ahead and put you in the lobby really quick. We'll take a commercial break, and when we come back, We'll have Turnbuckle Talk. We'll take your phone calls. WWE action, Money in the Bank, AEW, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And the other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's the evolution of sports talk television, the sports web. Keep it locked.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. All right, welcome back to the evolution of sports talk television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Update again: the Rays lose 4 in a row as they fall to the Philadelphia Phillies 8-4 tonight. So if you want to talk about that, we can definitely do that. We can also talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tristan Wirfs with a prediction 12-5. But now it is time for Turnbuckle Talk. Woo! Before we get to that, I want to read some of these comments first, and then we'll get out to Mr. Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the Berg. How about them Reds? Absolutely big-time story in Major League Baseball before the All-Star break. David says the Rays go against the Braves starting Friday. That's going to be a big series. But right now, they are struggling when it comes to pitching and hitting, and that's how it goes. So hopefully they can turn this around. You'll beat the Phillies and then start off that series against the Atlanta Braves for that weekend set at Tropicana on a great note. So we'll see what happens there. Did you hear about Kyle's mom? No, I did not. If Todd likes his job, Mayfield starts. Agree, Rick?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go on to Rick again. Bucs division has the weakest quarterback in the league. They may win the division with a 500 record. You're absolutely correct. Derek Carr, I definitely think is good. But Harry says, look, he's not that good right now. He's got a dead arm. They still have a defense there, but for me, look, if it was Sean Payton and Derek Carr, it would be one thing, but it's not. It's Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. They still have the defense there. Carolina has a rookie quarterback, and then, of course, you don't know what's going to happen with Atlanta. So is it certainly possible for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win 8 or 9 games again and win that division? Absolutely, because it's wide open in my opinion. All hail the greatness of leaving. When it's time for Turnbuckle Talk, 2 giant goofballs, the up the nostril shot. Rick says, hey, Ralphie boy. Jim says, Reds, all right?
Oh, yeah.
And Jim says, who is the best quarterback in the NFC South? I'm just going to go. I'm going to be a homer about this. Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the NFC South for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Agree or disagree? Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Let's go. Let's go. Give me a little Tom Brady, even though he's not here. We kept the sound effect. Let's go out to Mr. Ralph Williams. Not the biggest Tom Brady fan, but that's okay. It's time to talk wrestling, although I will ask him the question, in your opinion, in the NFC South, who is the best quarterback in this division? Welcome to the Evolution.
Well, you know something, Peter. You're right. It could be Baker Mayfield because I want to tell you a little something about Atlanta. Arthur Smith's walking on eggshells this year. This is what, his third, fourth season? Hasn't done anything. So, I mean, I think Atlanta's going to flop, and we'll see what goes on. I think Tampa Bay has a chance. I mean, it's a weak division again. Could happen.
All right, and I agree with you. Anything can happen because that could be the worst division in football. I tell you right now, though, WWE Money in the Bank results, the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins defeats Finn Balor. Pretty good wrestling match there. The Bloodline Civil War, the Usos defeat Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. I don't know why I'm saying Sequoia. I don't know why I continue to say that.
I don't know why he's not called Solo Uso or something. I mean,
well, I don't either. Sequoia, not Sequoia, like the tree, Sequoia. My bad. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Damian Priest.
Yes.
Beats Ricochet. Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, who is completely over with the crowd. I'm trying to and Triple H said this at his presser, good things come to those who wait. Let's start out there with Money in the Bank. How surprised were you, Ralph, that it's Damian Priest? Because we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
Backstage with the work that he did with Bad Bunny, made him a main event guy, and it certainly seems like Triple H and Vince McMahon were listening.
Yeah, they were, and Peter, I was surprised he got it. But what I was really surprised was he didn't cash in that Money in the Bank because, see, I predicted that the Usos were going to win. Then I said later on, as I was watching Money in the Bank, I said, watch, Damian Priest is going to cash it in on Roman Reigns. And I think he had an opportunity, and he missed. But I think if he tried, I think Finn Balor was going to step in. So I think that's why he didn't do it. And that's, I thought he was going to do it that night. He could have had the Universal title, but I don't know why he didn't do it. But I have some suspicions. I think he thought Finn Balor was going to interfere again or something was going to happen. Maybe he might have lost, you know what I mean? Or Soho would have waken up and interfered. Who knows? You know what I mean? But Damian Priest, and that's, you know what? He's the most dangerous man right now.
Well, and I tell you right now, he's definitely earned his right to be that. And I think he's definitely main event attraction at the end of it. Yes. There was talk that Vince McMahon wanted somebody. He actually wanted Logan Paul. There was rumors out there that it was going to be Logan Paul. Paul, once again, put on an extraordinary match, although he had a botch there. And look, for what he's done in the short time, it's been amazing. Even Triple H said he's too good for his own good. He's only going to get better. But he had a botch. There was a rumor out there that Vince wanted Logan Paul. There was a rumor that Triple H wanted LA Knight. I guess they came to, some type of compromise for a Damian Priest. So speaking of LA Knight, what did you think of his performance? And you hear that London crowd, and we'll get to what Kevin Nash said because that was interesting in itself. But you can hear the London crowd, how they wanted him. Crazy fans out there. He certainly seems like he's over at the end of the day. He's great on the mic. He is a little bit up there, but he keeps his body in great shape. He has been in the wrestling business for over 20 years.
Right. He was Eli Drake in Impact Wrestling, and I remember he won some titles there, and he used to say, "You big dummy." He's called by a dummy. And he had a show. I mean, he was big in Impact Wrestling, and then when he was in NXT, he was big. And then they brought him up and they made him into that Maxine Dupree or whatever it was with the male models and all that. That was silly. And I mean, now, and I think he got set back by that. I think that's what happened. I get tired of this, Peter. WWE keeps bringing these guys up from NXT and they don't know what to do with them. And they're lost in the shuffle, I mean, now you got Johnny Gargano. He's a no-show everywhere. I think he's hurt or something. I don't know. He's always hurt. And then now all of a sudden, Ciampa comes back, and now he's fighting The Miz. So, I mean, it's
that's
either,
a Triple H effect. I mean, Triple H does such a great job of getting those superstars over.
Superstars, right?
Character development that happens in NXT, and when they get up to the main roster, it's like Vince and the other guys. They don't know what to do. That's why
what to do.
Right, you got to keep Triple H in charge, and hopefully Vince once again steps aside. Well, we continue to say this over and over
again. But he's not going to step aside, Peter. It's not going to happen.
Right.
He's a power freak.
It's going to continue to be inconsistent. It was a great show, though. It really was. We got some.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a good show. I didn't expect the Baszler, Ronda Rousey debacle that went on there. I didn't expect that. I thought they were going to dominate, and turns out there was a debacle between the two of them. I mean,
well,
and now it's to get Ronda Rousey out of the WWE. Her contract's up, and I heard that SummerSlam they're supposed to have a match, and she's going to lose.
Yeah, and I think to me it's been disappointing. Her run in WWE has been very disappointing. Do you feel the same way? Because you start out with her being a babyface, and if you don't know what turnbuckle talk is, we have these terms. Babyface means good guy,
bad guy, it's a heel. Yeah,
right, heel. For me, if you're going to have the baddest woman in the world, you start her out as a heel instead of a babyface. That's where you made your mistake. She's not great on the mic. It seems like she's not necessarily the best wrestler. She's not very interested in it. So it makes sense to have a Baszler here and her have a match and have her out, because if not for Baszler, Ronda Rousey wouldn't be involved. And she was talking about this in their storyline. So where do you lie on Ronda Rousey's legacy in WWE?
There is no legacy, Peter, because she kept going in and out of the WWE. First then she was pregnant, she had a child, then she came back, then she was a heel, then she was a baby face. Then she started out as a baby face, was supposed to be doing this thing with Roddy Piper, her thing with Roddy Piper, and then Kurt Angle. They didn't know what to do with her, Peter. That's the whole problem. And WWE is notorious for that. They have talent, they don't know what to do with it. And that's sad. It really is. And now you got something,
Right. You're exactly right. And it almost seems like they didn't know what to do with Rousey.
Right.
They have the supreme talent. They have somebody that's definitely over. You didn't necessarily have to be the greatest technical wrestler, because you see what she did in UFC. It basically sells itself. And it just didn't work out, did it? It was really flat. At the end of it, we're on with Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the Berg, newest Pittsburgh.
At least Baszler, Peter, at least Baszler was in the NXT system. She went through the whole thing. She likes to wrestle. She was an MMA fighter. She knows a lot of holds, and she's not too bad with the mic. I mean, she's not good, but she's not bad. I mean, at least she could talk a little bit in the mic, and she's somebody that likes to beat people up. They should keep her as a heel and just let her go, move on, and do what she needs to do. I'd like to see her take on Rhea Ripley. I like Shayna Baszler. I'd like to see her do that. I'd like to see her strip Rhea Ripley, because I'm tired of this Judgment Day stuff with her and Dom and Finn Balor and now Damian. I'd like to see Damian Priest kind of go on his own, do his own thing.
Well, it certainly seems like, Ralph, there's some cracks in that foundation, because you have Finn Balor, you have Damian Priest. They're going kind of out of here. I think they're going to break the Judgment Day, because as we always talk about, those stables, there's a vehicle for that. The reason why you do that is because you're trying to make those guys stand on their own eventually, put them over, get them over. All those wrestlers are over right now. Now that they're doing their own thing, I think they break that stable up. Again, we're on with Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the Berg, newest Pittsburgh personality. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's go out to this match here, which was the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Gunther defeats Riddle. Not really a surprise, because Gunther's definitely over, and he's in that picture of being in a WrestleMania main event. But who comes out, and we haven't seen in a couple of months, Drew McIntyre. Yeah,
there were rumors he was supposed to go to AEW. I mean, he was unhappy with creative, and I think Triple H might have stepped in and said, hey, look, Drew, I'll get you set up here, and I'll keep the old man at bay. And, so I'm glad to see Drew McIntyre's back in the fold. And he's going to go after Gunther. If there's anybody that probably could beat Gunther, it is Drew McIntyre. And, I'd like to see that happen sooner or later, because I like Gunther. He's a good wrestler. I just don't like him as Intercontinental Champion.
All right, let's read these comments. Jim says WWE is coming to Dayton, Ohio before SummerSlam. You're absolutely right. Jim says, damn it, Jim. Thanks a lot for tuning in. As always, where's SummerSlam this year? Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm over Roman Reigns. We shall acknowledge you, Ray.
Acknowledge me.
Divas have been a joke since Eric Bischoff is
off.
The Divas definitely stepped up. In fact, I think at some points,
I'll tell you when it was good. When Stephanie McMahon was running it, that's when it was good. Because remember, they had that all-female pay-per-view. Remember that?
Correct.
So that's when it was good, when Stephanie McMahon was running. After that, it went down the toilet.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. No. The emphasis, once again, has been taken off of them. And very talented wrestlers. Got very talented wrestlers. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair. Baker has better stats than Carr by a long shot. Yes, Baker had a better running game and defense, but they both had many coaching changes, so Baker made the best out of the situation than Carr did. Good comment, Christopher Cole. And let's go out to Rick. Says, I think Triple H should hire Peter and Ralph to write the story. I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
I like
it. Hey, Peter, I'm moving up in the world. Why not? I mean, I might as well move up into that.
You're like the Jeffersons here, my friend. You're moving on up.
That's right. I'm moving on up.
There you go. Exactly.
Well, we're moving on now.
All right, good stuff there. Let's go back to Drew McIntyre. His return, of course, an agreement on a strong storyline, and this is from Cage Side Seats per PW Insider. There's been no change in his contract status, and the site says the two sides haven't even begun talking about a new deal, partially because there's so much time left before his current one expires early next year. He had this to say about the whole situation. I just want to apologize for everybody that I missed my dates. I missed the towns. It's not like me unless there's a reason. Obviously, the rumor and innuendo is out there. What's going on with Drew McIntyre? What's going on with the future? The future doesn't matter. What matters is the present. And presently, Drew McIntyre is back. And if you're heading to a WWE show and Drew McIntyre is there, you're going to get 110%. And finally, I'm chasing that big moment with the title in front of live fans. So let's make that happen finally. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see Drew back. I mean, I like the fact that he's back in the WWE. It did not go to AEW. It's good to see. We need guys like him in the WWE right now, because right now there's some things that are weak. Lashley's not around either. I don't know what's going on with him. I think he's hurt or something. We need to get some of these big guys back. I know Strowman, he's going to be down for a while. He's got a back problem. He just had surgery on his neck. So, I mean, is Big E coming back? Randy Orton? WWE has to do something, get some of these guys back. I know a lot of them are hurt. Randy Orton's up in age. I understand that, but they got to get some of these guys back. I mean, they got.
Well, they do. They got
AJ Styles.
Right. They got to get some of these guys back from injury, but they also got to be able to do something storyline wise, and they haven't been able to do anything with McIntyre because he's been gone. Lashley, they don't know what to do with him. I don't know why you would, and I get it. There's a lot of time here, but McIntyre is absolutely over, and he can wrestle, and he's a presence, and he can be a world champion. Once Roman Reigns leaves for Hollywood, he can be a guy that can do it.
That carries the WWE.
He's been there from the very beginning. I get it. He had some trouble, and he went to Impact, and he improved himself. But he should absolutely be given the respect of being signed. Now, Dave Metzler confirms Insider's report about McIntyre's contract status on Wrestling Observer Radio, and that with the time Drew's taken off from WWE, it could actually extend his current deal through WrestleMania 40 or close to it. So maybe that is a reason. But it was great to see him come back, and I think that would be a hell of a match between him and Gunther.
That's going to be at SummerSlam.
What do you think? Right, I agree. What do you think about
that? I have six matches that they said are going to be at SummerSlam already, if you want to know them.
Okay, give it to me.
It's Jey Uso main eventer versus Roman Reigns for the title.
Okay.
Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. Drew McIntyre versus Gunther. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus and Asuka in a triple threat match. Will take on Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. That's the 6 matches so far.
Okay, good stuff. Let's talk about the Bloodline Civil War. Your thoughts on that match? Because I definitely think it lived up to it. I was not expecting Roman Reigns to be pinned, but after 3.5 years, it was good to see. And now you have Jey Uso going against the Tribal Chief. Your thoughts on that situation?
Well, the reason why that's happening, Peter, I don't know if you noticed or not, but Jimmy Uso's contract is running out, and he's thinking about going to Impact so he could be with his wife Trinity. So be that, that's why that's a good way to weed him out by having Jey Uso take on Roman Reigns. I'm planning on going to the Payback pay-per-view September 2nd here in Pittsburgh. My wife and I are getting tickets.
Very good. All right, let's read these comments here. Let's see. Acknowledge the Shadow. We shall.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, Shadow, right there? And Rick says Cody sucks, and it looks like Cody Rhodes for a third time is facing Brock Lesnar.
What a waste.
And the rumor is that he is going to wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. That is still on track. Do you believe that it's on track? And Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, does that excite you?
No, it don't excite me with Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. I'm tired of the same old stuff. I've said that many times. Cody Rhodes needs to start getting involved in the championship picture, going up against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Let's stop this stuff. I know that Triple H, and I heard a lot of wrestlers beefed about the fact that Cody Rhodes was pushed ahead of a lot of people for the championship and whatnot. But you know what? So what? Cody Rhodes is a good wrestler. He was promised by Vince McMahon before Vince McMahon left last summer that he was going to be the man. And then all of a sudden everything broke down, including the loss to Roman Reigns and then Brock Lesnar and all this other crap that he's had to put up with.
All right.
Oh, and Dirty Dom.
Right. It's a Dirty Dom. Yeah. Dirty
Dom.
All right, so we talked about the comments before from Kevin Nash. He had this on his click this to LA Knight. Didn't have a lot of great things to say about him. Of course, LA Knight's influences. It's not only The Rock, but also Stone Cold. And you can tell by his promos, how he goes about himself. And it's funny, but Kevin Nash was not in a good mood or a laughing mood. He says, am I the only one who sees like an absolute ripoff of The Rock? To the point that when he cut an effing promo on Logan Paul or whatever the F his name is, the only thing he didn't do was turn that mother effer sideways. GC, does anybody have amnesia? There's nothing original. Oh man, his promos. Finally, LA Knight has come back as a white guy. What do you think? Is Kevin Nash being highly critical? And this is what wrestlers do on their podcast now. And this is the great thing about what we do on the Turnbuckle Talk here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Ralph Williams. Highly critical. We know the influences are there. We know there's influences from Hogan and Macho Man. We know they had their own influences. But when you see LA Knight cut a promo, do you feel like he is kind of ripping off The Rock in a way, or Stone Cold?
Absolutely, because he's trying to imitate them. I could tell. I mean, I agree with Kevin Nash. That's what he's trying to do. And, there's nothing wrong with that. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Very nice.
So, I mean, why not imitate him? AEW copies things that WWE does. WWE copies things AEW does. So why not LA Knight copy what The Rock and Steve Austin once did? And there's no problem with that. Those guys, The Rock and Steve Austin, they were the two best, I think, with the microphone, other than maybe Hulk Hogan and a few other guys. But as far as mic skills, those two were the best. And I mean, they picked up the mic; they were dominant with it, and they said what they had to say.
I'll ask the fans out there of Turnbuckle Talk. Do you have a problem with the LA Knight? I get it; he's
no, I don't.
Fans imitating a Rock or Stone Cold. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. In case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's Turnbuckle Talk here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with the bodyguard of the bird, Mr. Ralph Williams. Now, Reigns is expected to put his coveted title online at SummerSlam with Jey Uso, of course, being his opponent, as we talked about. But there are rumors now that Bray Wyatt is going to attack the megastar at the end of the show to set up a match at Payback. Just speculation at this point. Of course, this goes back to just doing some digging on WWE.com. The superstar known as The Fiend seemed to have stepped out of the collective population nightmares and into our reality. Is now much more lighthearted, they're saying. They said also The Fiend in his bio includes a detailed history of his demonic alter ego. You can read Wyatt's WWE.com bio below. So it seems like the bio is kind of changed on the website, which now people assume Bray Wyatt or The Fiend is coming back. We talked about this. Have they ruined his character to a point where there is no return, or can they recreate this? Because if you think about it, Roman Reigns beat The Fiend for his title. So now it comes back around. Can they promote this? Can they sell this? Can The Fiend come back and make some hay here with Roman Reigns, in your opinion?
They got to do something with Bray Wyatt, Peter. They keep bringing him back. He keeps disappearing. Then they keep bringing him back with, it was supposed to be Uncle Howdy, and then it was, what's her face? Alexa Bliss, who's pregnant, and she's out right now.
Right.
So they were supposed to bring her back. They were supposed to bring in Nikki Cross. They were supposed to do all this stuff to have his family together. Uncle Howdy. I just got, and then there were rumors that Braun Strowman was coming back with him, and they were going to bring back Eric Rowan, and it was going to start the family all over again. They need to find something for him and make it happen with him in a different way, because the way that they did it, they had it going real good. And then when he lost the title to Goldberg that time, after that, it went downhill. And then it just continued to go downhill. And then they brought him back. And then he was away because he was sick. Then he had a mental health problem. He was away again. And then Vince McMahon got mad at Triple H because he brought him back and didn't use his character right, which we saw that happen. So they have to do something, Peter, to make him stable with some kind of character, make him a heel, make him a character, and then have him go up against Roman Reigns or somebody for the title. And he's a good wrestler. It's just sad that, they can't find a character for him, and they keep on trying to resurrect this Wyatt family stuff. And
they need to let Bray cook. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Let him do it.
Yeah. Don't. He's in the kitchen. Let him cook.
That's it. Let him do his thing, because when he was
right,
the Fiend and the Wyatt family, and when they brought him back, it was so disappointing and so flat of a match. LA Knight, you have LA Knight for such a.
That was the only match he had, Peter. That was the sad part about this whole thing. They brought him back. He kept coming out with his brother, Bo Dallas, who was Uncle Howdy. They keep on bringing him out, and then there were all these rumors about how great this was. Look. You know who's back and creative with Triple H and all them back there? You got Tyson Kidd back there. Tyson Kidd hasn't wrestled in a long time. He's Natalia's husband. Okay, he's back there doing that. They got Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle's son. He's back there doing stuff. I don't know if these guys know what they're doing. Something's wrong here. You know what I mean?
I don't know if they're ever. They never. It doesn't seem like they ever know what they're doing when it comes to character development, because. Right. There's so many people at the end of the day calling the shots, and we always know who is calling the final shot, and that's Vince, in my opinion. Now, wrapping up the Money in the Bank, the weekend generated a combined gate of more than 5.4 million. The most interesting thing was, and I know AEW is doing some things out there over there in London, John Cena came out. To everybody's surprise, the crowd went completely.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all.
I did not, and they put it out there. WrestleMania in London. Why could that work? I think it works. And I didn't realize this, Ralph, that the WWE has not been over in London in the UK for over 20 years. How does that work? How? Why?
Well, that's because they got all these contracts with Saudi Arabia. Look at how many things they do over there. I mean, that's and London got left out in the cold. And that's what happens when you make contracts. The Saudis got a lot of money, and if I'm WWE, what do they have? 2-3 pay-per-views over there a year? I mean, and then so it was nice to see him back in London. It really was. It was great, and I didn't realize it's been 20 years, and AEW's about to have an event in London. So I mean, London's is coming back. So let's see if that happens.
Yeah, the O2 was just the crowd was just amazing. I mean, that's a great wrestling crowd. It really is.
Yes.
Viewership jumped 17% from last year's record and surpassed the last UK premium live event Clash at the Castle by 30%. Sponsorship revenue was up 9% versus the record set in 2022. WWE Money in the Bank marked the highest grossing arena event for venue merchandise in WWE history. WWE Money in the Bank set a new record for on-location fan experience packages, becoming the highest grossing non-WrestleMania event ever.
Wow.
You got to take advantage of that. The iron is
absolutely.
going to strike while the iron's hot. You may see WrestleMania over there in the next couple of years. The event became the most social Money in the Bank of all time, with video views of the Bloodline Civil War match reaching 40 million in the first 48 hours, quadruple the amount from the top clip at WWE Night of Champions, Jimmy Uso super kicking Roman Reigns. Additionally, the June 30th edition of SmackDown on Fox from the O2 drew 2.51 million total viewers, which is up. I mean, that's up. That used to be low. That's a high right now, up 17% versus a year ago, and it was number one in the 18 to 49 demographic with a 0.7 rating, 897,000 total viewers, up 39% versus a year ago. With that being said, let's end off on that. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk, my friend.
I'm Ralph Williams. I have RW Media. I'm also sponsored by Amped Up Sports, Sideline Sports. And I have a radio show every Tuesday, but we're on Thursday this week because of 4th of July. It's every Tuesday with myself and my co-host, Smokin' Jim Frazier, who we're going to try to get on the show here one of these days. Smokin' Jim and I, tomorrow, 5 to 6 p.m., we're going to have some guests on tomorrow. Monster show. I have 3 guests coming on tomorrow you're going to enjoy. We're also live on Beaver County Radio's Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. And you'll see it on my YouTube channel, which I have. You'll see the archive version of the radio shows on there. And also my The Way I See It show, which is on Monday nights at 7 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. I also have a show called Ralph Williams 101. I just did an interview a few weeks back with Melfort Jr., former running back in the NFL. I can be reached, ralphwilliams737gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Great stuff there. The bodyguard of the Berg, newest Pittsburgh radio personality, Ralph Williams.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot for your time here on Turnbuckle.
I'm going to blow everybody away. The whole Western Pennsylvania area I'm going to blow them away.
Yeah, get it. All right, my friend. See you next week. There he goes. Mr. Ralph Williams, excited about radio, as we all are here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Thanks a lot to all the guests. Before we get out to that, let's go ahead and read these comments, and we'll get out of here for the night. How's the good big men now? And Jim says, high flyers, they all exist here on Turnbuckle Talk. Keep on tuning in here, Jim, on Wednesday nights about 10:30. We talk about it. Thanks to all the guests for the night. Mr. Harry, the great professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Larry Bumgardner, counselor of Best Hope Counseling, with his different perspective. And we'll get more perspective from him in the next couple weeks. And, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube, like I Love St. Pete, The Hub, and Amped Up Sports. And do 3 things for me. And Rays fans, calm down, even though they're in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. It's going to be okay. You know why? You love these 3 things. You love them. You got to have them. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for the fans of the Sports Web and Tampa Bay sports fans out there, it's your time. Have a great night. Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com.